Excuses, excuses, excuses is what we're talking about today, and why your excuses are killing your potential and what you could be doing in life. So, one thing I've noticed, the more stuff you do, as in like different things that are outside the norm of getting up and going to work for someone else, the more you realize how much excuses play a role in other people not having a crack or doing what they want to do or starting something they want to start. So today I want to talk about why those excuses are actually killing your potential to live the life that you want to live. As you know, I've said before, like, I believe everybody's born with something, with a gift or something that they're good at, a skill, a talent. Everybody's given something. But the amount of people that never discover that thing or never discover what they're good at because they make excuses as to why they can't do it. And I see it all the time, I wish I could do that, but so-and-so, but such and such. But, there's always something. And today we're going to sort of break down kind of the psychology behind that and why it's so detrimental to living the life you want to live. And the first thing I wanted to speak about was like the whole I'm too busy thing. And that's always one that gets me because of all the people I know and deal with, the ones who are too busy are usually the ones that, A, get back to you straight away, they're doing stuff. It's always the ones who are full of excuses and, not acting on what they're supposed to be doing that are bad at like communicating or taking a long time to get back to you or whatever it might be. It's always the busy ones that are more punctual, more reliable. And that's where that whole like I'm too busy thing that people throw out really is, I don't know, it's a bit of a cop-out. And I use it too. Like, life gets busy. I understand. I'm not saying it doesn't, but using that as an excuse to not like go after the thing that you should be going after it's a bit of a cop-out, eh? Like, there's so much time in a day. Yes, you might work a job. You might have a day job where you work 8, 12-hour days, whatever. If you really want something and you really want to have a crack at it, you'll find the time. You will do it. I have days like that where I'm working with the wife and then I come home, I got to do content stuff. I'm on the computer editing till 10:30 at night. Like, you do what you got to do. A lot of those people saying that are the ones that are also then coming home and sitting on their phone and doom scrolling at absolute nonsense. Like, you've got to switch that mindset of stop consuming, start producing. Another thing I always say, like, be a producer, be a creator, not a consumer in whatever capacity. Whether you're trying to start a business, whether you're doing, there's whatever it is you're having a crack at. The I'm too busy thing is a bit of a cop-out. Like I say, in some circumstances, I completely get it, and it's very valid because life gets very busy, like my life's busy, but you've got to be able to find, even if it's that little 15-minute window to post something or send that email or make that connection or build that network, like whatever it is, find those little moments of time. I've said it before, if you have a day job, on your lunch break, use that lunch break to build something else. So yeah, busyness, it's almost become like a status symbol, I feel like, where it's like, it's the thing to say, like, oh, I'm busy as, like, you see a lot in like the trades and all that stuff. Like, it's almost like a status thing that, like, oh yeah, I'm real busy. Like, that's how good I am. Things are great. I'm busy. And it's, I don't know. I just don't. Again, it's a hard one because there is legitimate times when life does get hectic and busy, and you just don't have time to prioritize other things. But 90% of people use it as a cop out. To be fair, I feel like excuses kind of act as an armor to protect us from like rejection or failure. And that's why I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to doing stuff, it's always, there's always that excuse of like, oh, the time, not now, like the timing's not right. Like, I'll do it at this point in life, or I'll do it in the future, or I'll start it then. And then what happens is a lot of people just get led down a path of like mediocrity, like instead of chasing and building that thing they know they want to, they just, again, have the job, have the mundane everyday life, and that's that mediocrity over like the forced growth that you have to do. And that's something that we all deal with, we all deal with self-doubt and that internal voice that says, no, like, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. It's like all the people that have done that thing that you want to do, again, no matter what it is, they are proof that you can do that. You know, the ones who actually get going and get over that hurdle are the ones who can shut that thinking down. Everybody has self-doubts. Everybody's self-deprecating in some way or another. But the ones who actually get going and have a crack and eventually succeed are the ones that can put that stuff to the side or overcome it and go, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to the other side of the brain that's saying, hey, actually, you could do that. You could be successful at that. You could have a crack at that. You could make that happen. That's the ones who actually act on what, that take action and act on that side of thinking instead of the self-deprecating, doubting side. And that's where, like, for me, to do stuff, much like this podcast is, you've got to follow through on the things that you tell yourself you're going to do. For everything that you say you're going to do, you break that and you don't do it, you're losing trust in yourself. You have to have that internal trust that, hey, I do this every week, every day, whatever it might be. It could be anything. It could be, like I say, building a business. It could be exercising. It could be doing content. It could be a million different things. But saying you're going to do it and then not doing it is breaking that trust internally that you have. And that's when that other side of the brain flares up and goes, hey, I told you you couldn't do it. You bloody lazy piece of shit. I told you, gotcha. You can't listen to that side of the brain, and you can't break that trust with yourself. You have to make the plan and follow through. Consistency is key with anything. If you do not stay consistent, you won't achieve. There's no quick fix. There's so many young crew now, and all they want to do is quick. We were all like that once. One thing you learn as you get older and over time is you learn that things take time. Good things take time. Consistency pays off. Consistency is rewarded with success if you just keep doing it. But so many people want it quick now, and it doesn't come quick now, and they go, oh, well, on to the next thing, I quit. So that's where you can't break that trust. You can't let that other side of your brain come in and try and prove that, hey, told you, you were dreaming. It's like, no, you've got to shut that side up. Stick to the good side of the brain that pushes you. And like, eventually you rewire yourself to the point where that doubtful side of the brain, you don't even hear it anymore, because old positive charging side, that just goes hard all the time because you've actually used it and you've achieved the things you wanted to achieve and gone, oh, actually, this one's right. This side of my brain's right, not the other one. And I don't even listen to that one anymore. I just go hard, But you don't get to that point until you've actually utilized it and done it and realized that that doubting guy or girl, she's just like what's the word? The devil on each shoulder or whatever. Angel on one, devil on the other. It's like, pick your battle sort of thing. Pick who you want to roll with. I'm always on the positive, like, you can do this, you can smash this. That's why I'm here doing this podcast, encouraging you guys to think this way. Because I know it. I've done it and it works. The next thing on, like, excuses, another one that I've obviously noticed and kind of frustrates me is the whole, like, victimhood thing. I can't stand this shit. It's got to stop, man, especially in New Zealand and Australia. It's like, so many people had a shit upbringing, or they have, whatever their circumstances have been over points of their life. But using that as an excuse to not do something or not be able to achieve something is honestly the biggest crock of shit. And people need to stop being that way if they actually want to make something of themselves and live the life they want to live. No, that's the main goal. Live the life you want to be living. Not getting up every day like, oh, another day. It's like, it should be like getting up every day like, man, stoked for another day on earth. I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so grateful. I get to do all the cool things that I do, that I love to do every day. It's all about switching the mindset, and that victimhood sort of, what would you call it? Woe is me mentality. It gets you nowhere, and it's so easy to get sucked into, like I've said it before, negative energy is even more contagious than positive energy. Positive energy is hard to get out. Like doing this stuff and encouraging people to get out there and have a crack and like be positive and change their mindset and realize that if you change your mindset, it can change your whole life. But they soon get sucked back into that woe is me, victimhood, bloody negative bullshit, getting obsessed over politics and real estate and all the dumb shit that takes up people's mental space in this country. And then they go to some job they hate and they just all stand around talking about the same shit, and it's just negative, negative, negative. That's where, I'm the catalyst here. I'm saying positivity, like get away from that shit. Stop letting your brain be overtaken by all this nonsense. So negative energy is it's more contagious than positive energy from what I've seen. It's harder to get somebody to switch their mindset into a positive sort of mind frame than it is to easily suck them back into the negativity. So the best thing you can do to make your life better and achieve more is get away from that way of thinking that oh, wow, this happened to me, that happened to me, this is going on, that's going on. No one gives a shit. We've all had shit times in our life, whether it's childhood or in adult life, and that's the problem is it's all easy for you to say, you're this, you're that. It's yeah, but I wasn't always, whatever it might be, whatever the thing you want to point out about someone is, doesn't mean they're always in that position. Yes, some people start life with an upper hand. They're born into, whether it's wealthy families or whatever their situation might be, 100%, the starting line isn't even. Some people are born into shit situations, but not changing your mindset and using that as an excuse is never going to get you out of that situation. The only person that can get you out of those situations is you. And that starts up here, seeing the bigger picture, having a positive mindset, going after something, making a difference, changing your life, doing something different. Because, like I say, I'm not saying that we're all start from the even starting point. But if anybody can get themselves out of a shit starting point into living their best life, then anybody can do it. It just takes the right mental fortitude and attitude and not thinking with that victim bullshit that woe is me. There's a big difference between who you say you want to be and the actions that actually show who you want to be. It's all good to talk about something and be like, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be. But then you do nothing about it. You just, like I say, you just keep living your same, whatever mundane life that you have and go, oh, well, eventually it might just materialize into my life. No, it doesn't work like that. The work you do is a direct result of the success that you get, you've got to put in the work. You've got to actually do it. Same as the one I did the other week. You got to do the doing, And circumstances are everything, what you control versus what you endure. You can change your circumstance. You can get away from shitty people. You can get around good people who think like you or have the same passions as you or whatever it is that you can control. You can control it. You're not stuck. You are not stuck. You're not stuck by a job. You're not stuck by a location that you live. You're not stuck by anything. You're a human. You can do whatever you like, especially once you're an adult. You've got to take extreme ownership of your life. You can't just think that someone else is going to come along and save you. For some reason, people have this mindset, oh, one day something's just going to come along and fix everything. It doesn't. It's not reality. You've got to be a realist. I'm a realist. You've got to know that if you want change, you have to be that change. You have to make the change for yourself, make it happen, and do the work, or else nothing will change. Change your mindset, change everything. Next bit I want to talk about is perfectionism. It's one thing I've noticed with excuses is people always use the excuse of wanting to do something perfectly, which isn't how things work, it's not how succeeding works. Everybody starts somewhere at something and you generally suck at it. The way you get better is by doing it. It's the same thing I was just talking about. It's the action, it's the work. You do the work, you get better at the work. And I use examples of things that I've done over the past, YouTube is a perfect example. I started doing YouTube photography videos to help others and teach people about photography. When I look back on my early YouTube videos, they are horrendous. I've only been doing it for a couple of years, but they're so bad compared to how I do it now. But I knew even then, I'm just start. If nothing comes of it, then so be it. And then it grew and I got better at doing it. I got better at doing this, at podcasts and all that, but it doesn't come from being a perfectionist. The very first video I do has to be absolutely perfect and it has to be a bloody blockbuster film. No, it's not how it works with anything. You just have to start. You have to get going and you will get better over time, and no matter what it is. There's an old saying, B minus action beats A plus planning every single time. In other words, the person that just does always gets ahead, because as they go through that process, they learn, they get better, but they're actually doing the work. They're actually putting the action in, putting the work in, and doing it consistently. When old mate's still sitting back going, oh, I'm waiting for the perfect thing, the piece of gear, or the perfect event, whatever it might be, the perfect thing to be, it's like, that's overthinking. You can't overthink. Just do. Action creates clarity. Thinking only creates doubt. And what that means is overthinking a task, again, whatever it is, whether you're going to start a business, whether it's like exercising, whether it's I don't know, I'm crap with like examples. There's a million different examples of what you want to do. Being an artist, whatever it is, the action creates clarity. In other words, you do the task, and over time you go, oh, okay, this is how you get better at this aspect of it, and this is how you do that, and you learn from it. Where thinking creates doubt. In other words, you sit there overthinking it to the point where you doubt it, and then you end up just taking no action. We've all seen it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So you have to learn to break that cycle and have like the no excuse rule. You have to take the action. You have to separate how you feel and how you think from what you do. You just have to do. So if you're someone out there who's thinking about doing something and you find that whatever it is, left or right side of brain, is giving you all the doubt and the excuses, that's where, like I always say, this thing up here is your most powerful tool, because you're able to use this and you're able to use the right side of it, or left side of it, whatever it is, whatever's right for you, and listen to that side over the excuse and doubt side. And that's why excuses are killing your potential, because everybody's got potential in something. Everybody's got a skill, everybody's got a talent, everybody's got something that they could succeed at if they stopped making bloody excuses. And like, this is something I've learned over time. I've learned that, I've had things where I've excused my way out of it. No, can't do that, can't do this. And then the things where I haven't done that, where I've obviously had the passion to go, no, I'm not listening to that part of my brain. Like, I'm going to have a crack. And then I start to succeed at it. And it's like, it's that, I guess it's like a confirmation, of, oh, actually, that other side of my brain that was giving me all the self-doubt and excuses was full of shit. You have to learn to overcome that side of your brain. There's probably like a psychological, name for all this. I'm obviously just saying it how I think it, whatever. But the potential that's in you to do something that you want to do, the main thing that you have to get over to unleash that potential is all your excuses. Like I said, that's something I see more and more, where it's like, oh yeah, like so many people, oh, I wish I could do that. It's like, you can do anything you put your mind to. Obviously with society, there's a lot of pressures. There's a lot of like societal pressures. People want to look a certain way and be judged in a certain way. But there's a thing that I teach my kids, and I always say, because obviously, they're children and they're figuring out that whole world. The saying is, don't let external forces affect your internal decisions. In other words, the external forces of the world are telling you one thing, this is the picture of success. This is the playbook that you should live by. This is how you should be to be a responsible adult, or whatever it might be. And all those external pressures get to people, and then next minute they're like down a path living a life where they're like, this isn't actually what I wanted to do. Like, and it's because all those external pressures have made, have forced them to make certain internal decisions that they shouldn't have. So I really think you have to decide what it is that you want, and not let society control the way that you think or the way that you go in life. Because for most people, it doesn't lead to fulfillment or a happy life. It just leads to living by the playbook. It baffles me how much people care what other people think of them or their image. And like, the reality is, no one gives a shit. Like, everyone's just living their own life, trying to do their own thing. No one's looking at you. No one cares. Like, yes, if you do stuff like this, like content online, you get a lot of eyes on you and you do get all sorts of comments and stuff, but that's part of the gig. You've got to deal with it. But like, people live in their everyday life. Like, why do they ever give a shit about what anyone else thinks of them or, what their image is? It's like, we're all in control of our own destiny. It's another thing I say that pisses people off. I'm like, we all create our own destiny, our own reality, Oh, easy for you to say, bro, like this, that. It's like, no, it's not easy for me to say, It takes a lot of work to get to that point. It's not easy. It's just taking control of this thing up here. And like I said, acting on it. So, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but the key here is excuses are killing your potential. Excuses are killing your potential. I don't know why I'm doing that. You've got to get out there and have a crack, man. You've got to stop letting these external bloody forces control you potentially living your best life and creating your own reality and your own destiny in something that you actually love. Because there's a lot of pressure out there in society. I get it, and times are tough for a lot of people and this and that, but I'm telling you, you can you can get out of it and live your best life by utilizing this thing up here and stop that guy on this side being like, you can't do that, doubt this, do that, excuse this. It's like, no, you got to switch it up. Listen to the guy on the other side or girl, because you can do it. You are capable. If any other human can do it, you can do it. End of story. It just takes work, dedication, passion. And again, this is relative to anything. You can apply this to anything in life. No matter what you want to do, the world is your oyster, literally. So, yeah, that's this week's little ramble. Hope it helps. Probably won't, but if you are making excuses in life, honestly, reach out. Chat to me. I'll help you as much as I can. Changing your mindset will change your life 100%. You just have to believe in the power of it, and the power that you can harness by thinking the right way and using this big old brain in your head. So thanks for listening, guys. Another episode. I was supposed to have a guest on this week, but I've just been busy. Here we go. Look, see, here it comes. Been busy. What did I talk about before? Been too busy. Legitimately, though, it is hard to do guests one, especially if you've got to travel. So next week I'll make sure I get a guest on and we'll unlock some more wisdom for you guys to embrace. Hope everybody has a great week, and stop making excuses. If you want to have a crack at something, honestly, don't hold back. Give it heaps. Get out there. Consistency. Things don't happen overnight. Success doesn't come like that. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time. So find what it is you're passionate about. Put in the time. Put in the work. Got to put in the work. Got to do the doing. Things magic isn't real. You can manifest all you like, but unless you do the actual doing, things won't become reality. So get out there, smash it. Thanks for listening to the Big Yarn podcast once again, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace out. See ya.